Hey everybody, welcome to Idio Talk. We are back. I am your host, Walker Glenn.
I'm Zach Glenn.
And we're really excited for today's episode. We have an interview with fellow podcaster in the Radiohead space, Sean Perrin of OK Podcast, which was a super fun conversation. How do you feel that went, Zach?
It was great. He's such a nice guy, and just been so welcoming to the Radiohead podcast landscape, I'll just say.
Very much so. I kept trying to insinuate that there was a rivalry between our two shows, and he was completely unflappable. It was like, and I don't know. That could be an intimidation tactic that he's refusing to back down from a fight with us.
Not since World War II has Canada been so welcoming when we've tried to collaborate, but also make there be tension. I'm just joking.
Right.
I just know the storming of, on D-Day. Often it's referred to the Americans stormed the beach, and it's like, hey, don't forget about Canada. They actually had the lowest amount of casualties of any of the 6 attack points. So,
well, to be fair, they had the lowest amount of casualties because they sent 10 soldiers in for the storming of the beach, and one of them died. So percentage-wise, it's actually not great. One guy out of 10 died. It's like we've lost 10% of our armed forces, eh?
Also covered in the talk with Sean is the low volume of folks that maybe live up north. But
yeah, we learned.
You'll get to that eventually.
Yeah, I don't want to give all the gems away, but we did learn that California and Canada have the same number of people, give or take. Do you think that is how Canada runs its military? Is like, I was kidding, obviously, it's not 10 guys, but do you think it's like we just got like the 200 toughest guys and gals? That's our military.
Militarily, I don't know anymore, but I do know, to be completely serious, I do know that there were some very heroic folks, men and women, in World War II. I don't know militarily any history about them after that or up through present. I do know they're a very peaceful nation, though.
Yeah, we'll have to ask Sean about Canada's military secrets the next time we talk to him, maybe. We didn't get to it this time.
I mean, domestically, they have the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
I am aware of that, yes. Do you remember on South Park when they go to Canada and the RCMP is riding a sheep because it's like the new Prime Minister of Canada has taken away their horses?
Yes. How funny is this? This is just us teasing Canada, and meanwhile our police force have like tanks and guns that they just aim at folks domestically.
I know. I mean, I think it's always...
It's a defense mechanism.
Exactly. It's always teasing from a place of just like, it's like a child of divorce being like, oh, your parents love each other? That's so lame. I get 2 Christmases and they're both sad.
Oh, goodness.
So how are you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I'm really loving where we're at. Talking about Radiohead, I love some of the connections we've made. I love, we had an interview released on Friday that I think has just been great. Hopefully we've diversified our audience even more, welcoming some stained glass folks and hopefully women of Radiohead to the podcast as well.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's the holiday season, and I know we just wanted to get together and chat a little before our interview with Sean, but I couldn't complain, man. Really excited.
Yeah, I'm doing good too, man. I think that you kind of just led us in perfectly to some stuff we should clue the listeners into. Like, listeners, you're already probably hearing that Zach and I are not in the same room as usual. I do have to say, I don't think we're losing a step with our timing with each other. We're really. Oh, no, you go ahead.
Sorry.
Sorry. But yeah, no, we really wanted to connect and get another episode out before the holiday break that we're about to take. And so this is coming out on December 16th. You're probably getting ready for whatever festivities you celebrate around this time of year. For some of you, it's Christmas. For some of you, it might be Hanukkah. For some of you, it might be like, hey, this is just a time when the world slows down a little bit, and I just kick back. I got a couple days off from work or school, and I'm just leaning into that. Don't put your religious hokum on me, some of you are saying. And listeners, we're not here to do that. But it is the holiday break, and we're going to take, for the first time since we started putting this out, a few weeks off. And we just wanted to make sure that when you run to your phone in the morning on a Friday, like we know some of you are doing, that you're not shocked, offended, perplexed, that you don't think Zach and I have passed away or anything like that. We're just taking a little time off to bring you some more content, bounce back, take care of stuff going on in our individual lives. And we will return on January 13th. We'll be back in the new year with our In Rainbows episode. Normally, we kind of don't put right out on Front Street what the next episode is necessarily going to be, but this is a big one. This is a big Radiohead album for a lot of folks. I've made no secret of it being kind of the most single impactful Radiohead album for me. So take all the time that you need in between to listen to In Rainbows, get your own hot takes ready so that you can scream into your phone if Zach and I say something about In Rainbows that you disagree with. But I think that's the housekeeping portion, right, Zach? Is there anything you want to say about the break we're taking and our triumphant return 3 weeks from now?
No, I couldn't have said it any better. I'm going to use that time to spend time with family, listen to In Rainbows, gather my hot takes, and I hope the listeners will do the same, just like you said. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm so looking forward to, because I guess one thing Walker didn't say is that we are going to use our break to work and record our In Rainbows episode.
That's true.
Recording on January 12th. Listeners, we've been jamming out to that album for years and are going to continue to over the next couple days and chit chat about it. I'm just so looking forward to it.
Do you think, and if we decide not to, we can obviously cut this, but should we tell the listeners the other podcast related thing that we're doing during the break?
I was going to leave that to you. As I was talking, I was thinking about that. That's probably why that last sentence was so stupid.
I don't see any reason not to tell them. Why don't you tell them what else we're getting up to during the holiday break?
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, so Walker and I, my wife, who listeners have met, Walker's girlfriend, are going to see the band The Smile in San Francisco, California, 1 week from today. And I just couldn't be more excited. It's a smaller venue, I guess, maybe would be a good way to put it, relatively speaking. It's not a festival or anything like that.
Probably smaller than Radiohead would play.
Yes, cool. Exactly. And I don't think this is just me. First of all, we both love The Smile. So I think that's exciting. But I don't know if this is me saying this out of sadness that I haven't gotten the opportunity to see Radiohead, might never will. I don't know. But to see Tom and Johnny in a smaller setting, and this imposter named Tom, who is just an amazing drummer. But yeah. I kind
Tom with no H.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to studying, just enjoying the concert, but to maybe studying them musically. The footage I've seen of them playing is so astonishing. And I almost wonder if seeing the 5-piece band Radiohead, if I would be wanting to watch Colin, wanting to watch Phil, wanting to watch Ed, wanting to watch Tom, wanting to watch Johnny, and not maybe getting to take all that musical technique in. And this is not how I think about going to concerts, listeners. I do love to just rock out. But this is Tom York and Johnny Greenwood and some imposter named Tom we're talking about. This isn't just any concert. So I am just so looking forward to that, in addition to just loving that album. And they have also said that they're releasing a second LP, probably in calendar year 2023. So I do expect to hear some new music. So I am just so stoked.
Yeah, me too. I've actually talked to a couple people who have seen other shows on the tour. They're touring the United States right now and have heard they're playing a lot of unreleased stuff and that they're just putting on an amazing show. And I do think seeing I don't know what their stage show is going to be like, but my anticipation is that the whole affair is going to be somewhat stripped down based on the venue that we're seeing them in. And based on the fact that it's a 3-piece band. And I do think that it's going to be, I don't know. I can't help but think you'll see a little more how the sausage is made than you do with Radiohead. And I think that's going to be.
Yeah, totally, man.
And I feel like we can also say, without shooting ourselves in the foot, that our concert experience will be covered in some shape or form on a future Idio Talk episode. I can confidently say there's not going to be a place to get too deeply into that when we're talking about In Rainbows, because I know that is a big thing to cover on its own. But we will be reporting back to you, listeners, about our experience seeing the Smile live. And so, go ahead.
It's just
there's
cool.
that timing we were talking about.
It's just so cool though, because I was really excited about our episode on the Eraser. Right. I love our conversation. I loved both the thoughts we had. I didn't know how much the Idio Talk audience would love it, but people seem to really enjoy it. And a little bit of feedback from the audience too was like, man, that was great. I can't wait to hear you talk about Atoms for Peace. So I just think it's really cool to meet and, well, not meet, but to interact with other, Radiohead fanatics that are equally pumped about these quote unquote side projects. And I do want to find a new word besides side projects, because I want to respect the fact that these are artistic endeavors from the band that aren't created or connected to Radiohead per se, but I think, hopefully the audience will find that combo interesting as well.
Yeah, I think that Atoms for Peace is more in the side project camp than the Smile seems to be.
Yeah.
But I mean, Tom and Johnny's other band is probably
there we go.
But in any case, I think that what we're saying is we're really excited for the new year, and we've got a lot of exciting stuff coming at you once we come back for break. So make sure that you check back in with us on January 13th. And in the interim, you can still reach us by email or DM. Feel free to slide into those DMs. The DMs are open, and and interact with us if you are just needing your dose of Idio Talk.
Yeah, we'll try and post some cool stuff. Walker and I will maybe figure out some cool guitar covers or something like that. Maybe we'll pick up a new instrument, maybe some woodwind or brass, and post a cover.
There you go.
Out there. But yeah, no, we're really excited for this break, and we're really excited to come back. Is there more news that we needed to cover off? Or
well, I wanted to talk to you about something that we have not talked about off pod, but it's kind of tangentially related to the pod, and also related to our connection as immediate family.
Okay.
I visited our mother recently.
Okay.
And now she was in town in Oakland where I live, and visiting a cousin that she's close with out here. And we don't live in the same state anymore. For the last couple of years, our folks moved to Tennessee during the pandemic. And so we don't see as much of them as we did when we all lived in California. So, when mom's in Oakland, of course, set aside some time, go visit, had a very nice visit. I should also say, I did tell Zach when I was going to visit our mother, I told Zach a day in advance so he would not be there, Fredo and Michael Corleone style.
When you see our mother, I want to know a day in advance.
So I won't be there. Zach did say that to me a while ago, and it was shocking. It was shocking to me. I do think that we have a somewhat of a Fredo and Michael Corleone dynamic.
I disagree. I would say Sonny and Michael. And I mean, I recognize. Listen, man, I love Fredo. And side note, Al Pacino said the actor who played Fredo was the single greatest actor he had ever interacted with, in a.
John Cazale? Is that how his last name's pronounced?
John Cazale, I believe. Or John
Cazale. Yeah, I'm probably putting too much Italian flair on it. John Cazale.
But I mean, Fredo is useless, and you are so much more than that, brother. You do have maybe a little bit more of a flair for temper, which is the only reason why I put you at Sonny, but I'm also sad at that because Sonny dies.
Sure. Well, okay, but you're not evil like Michael Corleone is, and I'm not stupid like Fredo is. But I do think that I do think though that especially in terms of this podcast, there is a dynamic of Zach is the younger brother who is, kind of a shadowy business-minded presence pulling the puppet strings. And I'm like, fucking around in Vegas, being a big goofball. Right. And we also did have that moment where at one point some tension did rise up between us, and I tried to assert myself, and I said to you, Zach, you do not come in here and talk to a man like Brad Osborne like that.
Oh my goodness.
Send Walker off to do this. Send Walker off to do that. Send Walker to run some. Yeah. It ain't the way I wanted it. Send Walker off to run some Mickey Mouse Muse podcast.
Oh, I'm crying.
I can't even joke about that scene without getting legit somewhat emotional.
Yeah.
That is maybe
so
the
much
scene of
shaking.
Yeah,
because it's Fredo standing up to Michael too, so he's also afraid.
And he's drunk, slumped over in the chair, But he knows that he might. Right, and he knows that he part of him knows too that if Michael wants to, he'll just dispose of him. So he doesn't really have anything to lose in that moment either. Oh my God, I can handle things. I'm smart. Not like everybody says. Not dumb. I'm smart and I want respect. Oh my God, it's so good. So anyway, all this happened between me and Zach. Before I visited our mother, Zach told me, when you visit our mother, I want to know a day in advance so I won't be there. And I was pretty sure Zach wasn't going to be there anyway because he lives an hour and a half away. But I did text him, hey, tomorrow I'm going to visit our mother. I'm letting you know a day in advance so you won't be there. He said. He didn't text me back because, cold shoulder at this point. This is the most big setup to say that I saw our mom. And the smile came up because I was saying that you and I and the gals were getting together in a couple weeks to go to this concert, and that I was really excited. And my mom said, "Who's the smile?" Now, this stood out to me because our mother also let us know early in the run of the podcast that she was a listener. And she said, "Oh, I'm listening to the podcast, really enjoying it." I think even a few weeks in a row was "Oh, I love getting to hear you guys talk on Friday." Very nice, very encouraging, supportive stuff. But so I got a little bit, what's the word? A little bit of disciplinary action was taken. And I said, "Well, Mother, certainly you know who the Smile are if you're a listener to Idio Talk podcast."
Yeah.
Because the Smile is the other band of two members of Radiohead. And Zach and I have talked about this quite a lot on the podcast that you've said you listen to. And Zach, this is when it was revealed to me that our mother no longer listens to the podcast. Because she did say, she kind of winced a little bit, "Oh, you caught me," and went, I had to stop listening. You guys get a little too nasty for me. Now, I didn't give her a hard time about this because from the moment that Mom told me she was listening to the podcast, I was like, it is a matter of when, not if, that she finds that this is maybe not to her taste. I think it may be in the third episode that we go on a fairly lengthy riff about a man being able to suck his own penis for a long time. And our mother has a great sense of humor, but I would say that is not indicative of the kind of sense of humor it is.
Yeah.
So what I am asking you today is, A, did you know that we have lost a listener and that it's our mom, the person on this planet who probably loves us with more devotion than any other person on the planet, but we could not retain her listenership? And B, now that you do know that, if you're finding out for the first time, how does this affect this project going forward for you?
I had a sneaky suspicion. I didn't know. But I think maybe about a month ago or something, Mom said, we were texting and she said, oh, I'm not feeling well. And I said, oh, well, just lay low, just take it easy. And she said, oh, I will. I got some good movies planned. And I said, I had a good chance to get caught up on Idiot Talk. And she wrote, haha. And I wrote, and I thought to myself, And then conversely,
almost as harsh as if she just thumbs up your message.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, wow, man. Yeah, the subtleties of text responses are so interesting.
Oh, a haha is not a lol,
Exactly,
a haha is kind of like, okay, computer.
I know, right? It's as if she was telling her computer, take care of that for me. But conversely, our dad texted me maybe 2 weeks ago saying, hey, I'm listening to the OK Computer episode and I'm really into it. And I said, oh, well, that's great, Dad. He said, yeah, I loved Walker's call about animals being a dumb, smart guy move. And listeners, if you recall, Walker talks about how in that episode, the Pink Floyd album Animals, for Roger Waters, the principal lyricist, to have written an album entirely in homage to Animal Farm is maybe a dumb, smart guy move. And I wrote, yeah, that was really funny to Dad. And he wrote back, yeah, great album. But I appreciated it. I mean, he said some other stuff, but our dad is a musician, just like our mom is. Our mom's a really, really phenomenal singer. So yeah, having them dip in and out is totally fine. Totally understand. But I just thought that was it's just really funny.
Yeah, I mean, it should be said that I don't think either of us ever solicited listenership from them, and I think that probably a lot of listeners can relate to the feeling that when you have a creative endeavor, it's nice to receive the support of family, but you also, I'll speak for myself, you can't really create with them as your intended audience in mind. That's just too much to think about if you're trying to shoot from the hip, So I appreciate that they have listened at all. And I also feel that the podcast is supported with or without them actually listening to it.
Yeah.
But it was a funny way to find out. And I like that Dad is still listening. And Dad, if you're hearing this, what I want to know is not just what you think of Zach and I's performance on the podcast, which I do appreciate you enjoying any of our insights, but I'm more curious about what you think about Radiohead with us as your guided tour guides.
I think I did ask him that. I don't want to sell Dad short. Our dad is a dad, so he's a brief texter. I did ask him, is the album standing out to you? And I appreciate that he was honest, because he said, it's good. I got to listen to it again. We'll get back with you. And that is a piece of feedback that I just appreciated so much. Not that Radiohead is my band, obviously. And people are fair to like what they like, of course. But that is another friend of mine who I also didn't solicit listenership from on the podcast, who I didn't assume wouldn't be a Radiohead fan, but shout out to friend of the show, Dylan Hodgson. Texted me about a month ago and said, hey, I finally started listening to the podcast. Sorry it took me so long. And I wrote back, oh, Dylan, it's okay. You don't have to listen to it, but I appreciate that you're interested. And he's like, yeah. And he said so many nice things, really appreciated it. And he said, I'm listening to that episode with Brad. I turned it off, though, and listened to OK Computer. So I had a little bit more context of what you're talking about. And I was just like,
nice.
Wow. I know. It was so cool. And I said, what'd you think of it? He said, nothing really stood out to me, but I'm going to listen to it again. And I was like, okay, man, all right. I mean,
that is the whole project has become worthwhile in one sentence. We got somebody to listen to OK Computer for the first and second time.
Yes, and then the next time we connected, we talked about other stuff, but the next time we connected, he said, I was like, hey man, how's it going? Not wanting to talk pod at all. And he said, good, just finished listening to In Rainbows. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Then our conversation, I do believe, dropped off after that. So I still don't know how Dylan feels about In Rainbows or Radiohead overall. But he was very complimentary of the podcast. And yeah, like you said, though, just to be serious, it really, we started this show for a lot of different reasons, but namely because we love Radiohead. We love talking about them. We do feel that we have good insight and chemistry enough to at least try and put it out to the world to see if they agree when talking about this band and about music in general. But it has been super cool, even just for the small group of folks that we do know that have listened, that have given the band a shot. And I would encourage folks to do that and to not pretend to like Radiohead if you don't, because it's really...
Well, we'll know.
Yes, it's equally interesting to hear, though, what doesn't appeal to some folks. And yeah, I don't know. That's I would say that's a newer sort of revelation for me. But I do like to hear... anyways, that's fine.
I love all that. Now, I do want to shift back slightly and focus back to losing our mom as a listener.
You totally.
And I have a question for you, which is, now that we know Mother is not listening, does it make you uncomfortable when I call our mom Mother?
Yeah, Mommy's not listening.
Yeah. Mommy can't hear you. Does that mean now that we have carte blanche to get extra nasty on this podcast? Is there anything that we have been holding back because we know that the delicate ears of our mom might be here? Because now is it now a situation of, when Mumsy's away, the boys will play, and we want to do a lot of cusses and a lot of dirty, nasty jokes?
That's one big bastard of an album.
Here's a little bit of your Christine B-sides.
Can you tell the listeners?
That's for Misery listeners.
Anyone does not know how to cuss.
Also, if we keep the Godfather 2 metaphor going, is this like now when Fredo is safe as long as their mother is alive, but then when she passes away, what does Michael do? But he forgives Fredo publicly at the funeral, holds him as he cries, and then makes dark, knowing eye contact with Tom. Wait, no, not Tom. What's that henchman's name?
Rocco.
That's not Rocco.
Ooh, okay.
Rocco's the other one. This annoys me. Okay. God damn it.
Well, while you search that, can I please ask, is our sister Sydney, who is also not listening, is she our Connie? I feel that Sydney's a little bit responsible to be Connie, especially in Godfather 2, when she's flying around with half the world with men who don't care for her. My sister Sydney, the sister who lives in Canada, very, very responsible young woman. And, Talia Shire is too, but...
Okay, I'm just going to look up. Yeah, no, I think Bo might be our Connie.
Okay.
Let me see. Sydney Sunny, that temper of hers. Al Neary is the henchman. Okay. There's Rocco and there's Al. And Al makes it all the way to part 3.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, so is now that Mom is not listening, is this now your chance to finally shed the dead weight of your Fredo, aka me? You knowingly make eye contact with Kai. Kai is Al Neary. As I, a broken man, sob before you. You now know Mom is not listening, and you look at Kai like you know what has to be done about Walker.
I think so, and if we're going to carry the metaphor through, then the podcast would become Godfather 3, which is just nowhere near as good as what it was. So there you go.
And in the so when we come back on January 13th, I will be replaced by George Hamilton. I also
that one.
Yeah. No, I just watched Godfather 3.
Really?
For
wow.
For what was the second time in my life.
Oh, okay.
And I have seen the first two movies. I would say in the dozens of times. Like I would safely put it around probably 20 times that I've watched each of those movies.
Wow.
And only have seen Godfather 3 one time as a teenager when I was at my most Godfather obsessed.
How did it hold up? What do you think?
It's not a good movie.
Oh, okay. There wasn't anything.
It's not. It as a non-Godfather movie, I would say it's pretty unremarkable.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It really just feels really out of touch with what it is. It's very odd how disconnected 90s Al Pacino is from who we kind of know Michael Corleone to be. The story is
so convoluted and hard to understand.
Really convoluted and not as interesting. And it's just not a great movie. I mean, it's honestly, it just does not have any of the emotional resonance of the other two. You don't really care too much about what's going on. And it just feels like kind of a weird coda for Michael to kind of attempt to give him this redemption arc. Like, I understand the impulse to do that, but it doesn't, to me, really track with the story that they're telling. Like, to me, the incredibly depressing note that they end Godfather 2 on is the moral of the whole story. And you're kind of losing some of the impact of that when you go, he softened up a little bit in his old age, and he did feel bad about killing his brother. Right. And
he went legit.
It
Catholic church. It's like, and the thing that I noticed the last time I watched Godfather 2 is that shot that you were just referring to, and it's quiet, and then the score comes in. He is in his house in Tahoe, but it looks somehow abandoned. He's more alone than he could ever be, right? He is, like, it seems like they added some flecks of gray in his hair and maybe put on a little bit of makeup to make it seem, I would think, at least 10 to 12 years from where events ended. Like, he's reflecting back. Because that's the point, right? Is he's reflecting. That whole movie is a reflection, whether it's about his dad, whether it's about his own life. I've always taken that shot, though, to be a little bit further in the future from everything we saw in the movie. Is that correct?
I think you're right. And I think, if I remember right, I think the movie itself spans a few years over the course of the movie.
Yeah, and certainly after Kay tells him that she had an abortion, and then it's at least a year or two after that, because when he goes to pick up the kids or drop them off or whatever, I can't remember. It seems like time has passed.
Or maybe I'm mixing it up with two with one actually, though, because maybe part two is more, the Michael stuff is more linear, because part one definitely takes place over like a decade.
Here's the real question. Is the Venn diagram of Godfather and Radiohead stronger than the Venn diagram of Batman and Radiohead? So
I don't think so.
Listeners, okay, I was going to say, can you fill us in, even though we could easily Google search it?
You know what? This is good. The way to figure this out is, if you're listening to this, you're interested in Radiohead. We'll just accept that as a given, whether you're a new fan or a super fan. So you're listening to this, you are in the Radiohead circle. Are you more into Batman or Godfather? And everybody write in and let us know, and whatever gets more votes is the Venn diagram.
Yeah, we'll put our P.O. box in the show notes, so literally do write in. We don't have an email address set up yet, so let us know via handwritten letter.
I think I have a feeling how it would go if each of us had to pick one, and I think it'll probably leave it a draw, so we can probably start from zero. I will say I'm definitely more into The Godfather than Batman.
Okay.
And I have a feeling you would maybe go the other way, but maybe I'm wrong.
I would go the other way, not from a movie perspective, but just, yeah, from a story perspective. I think Godfather always leaves me a little bit, not a little bit, a lot bit sad and empty, even though I recognize that the first one is probably damn near a perfect movie. The second one is my favorite.
Yeah.
I love the De Niro stuff cut in, and I love Al Pacino. I mean, these are not hot takes, listeners. I realize that, but yeah, it always leaves me in a little bit of a funky headspace. And Batman is anything but happy, but I think it is a little bit more of escapism for me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Godfather brings up those mob memories. It's a little too much.
Right. Zach's just like, this is too much like my actual life when I tried to have Walker killed. Well, anyway, I did just want to deliver that solemn news to you on air that we have lost a fan. And probably the biggest fan of Walker and Zach that exists is no longer a fan of Walker and Zach's podcast.
That's okay, though.
But we've got to, I think we still have to go forward with the podcast, Zach.
Yeah, I agree. I can do it.
A boy's best friend is his mother, but a podcast's best friend is not.
Is his brother.
Oh, I love that. Okay, that's a t-shirt right there. First Idiot Talk t-shirt. A boy's best friend is his mother. A podcast's best friend is its brother.
Yes, there we go.
Is that a front back situation? Front is a boy's best friend is his mother. Yes. Back is a podcast's best friend is his
with a giant middle finger underneath.
Yeah, and the middle finger says Idiot Talk written down vertically.
And with that, should we enter into our break?
I think so. Well, last thing I'll say is when you said that, I did just realize Idiot Talk would make a great knuckle tattoo. You can get Idio on one and Talk on the... So I have thought if we, once we reach 10,000 subscribers, that we should get a matching tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
Should it be that? Should it be a knuckle tattoo of the podcast name?
I think so. I don't have any tattoos, and I was always thinking that either underneath my eye, Mike Tyson style, or on my knuckles would be the best place to start. So
that's where you want to get your first one. You're not, by the time when you go big.
Exactly. Yeah. Go big or go home. So, yeah. And I'm glad you said that too about it fitting perfectly on my knuckles, because I was going to copy Steve-O from the Jackass series and get fucking shit tattooed on my hands. But I think Idiot Talk might be a little more mild.
That's definitely something you can only do if you're Steve-O or dropping out of society.
Yeah, I know.
I think we should queue up the interview with Sean. Before we do, I want to say I wish when I had made my "you don't talk to Mo Green like that" joke and used Brad Osborne's name. I wish I'd said Sean, because then you can have the location. So do you mind if I just take that one more time?
Let's do it.
Okay, so Zach, you do not come to Calgary, Canada and talk to a man like Sean Perrin like that.
I wanted to somehow shoehorn this in, and I couldn't think of a way, so I'm just going to shoehorn it in. I wonder if in Canada, when they sing Body Snatchers, if in that great moment when
bit rude, snatching bodies.
I've no idea what you are talking about. That's all I got. We could cut that too.
Have you heard the Canadian version of the song "Shout" by Tears for Fears?
No. How's it go?
Shout, shout, let it all out. It's tough because it doesn't rhyme because of the accent. Oh, Sean, I'm sorry if we're making you regret doing our podcast with what are incredibly lame Canada jokes. We love Canada we love OK Podcast. And it was really, really fantastic to collaborate with another Radiohead podcast, a Radiohead podcast that we're both fans of, a Radiohead podcast Zach has appeared on. But we get into that in the interview with Sean. So, Zach, if you don't have anything else to say to the nice folks at home, then I'm going to go ahead and roll that interview. What do you say?
Let's do it. No, I'm great. Let's do it.
All right, listeners, we'll see you after the holiday. Have a very, very wonderful break. we're looking forward to talking to you in the new year. Welcome back to Idio Talk, listeners. We are very, very excited to have a guest with us tonight who is calling into the podcast all the way from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. He is the founder of a couple podcasts, the Clarinet podcast, which was founded in 2015 and is the world's most popular clarinet podcast. And not only the most popular, but also the first clarinet podcast on iTunes. And we're going to talk about that. But I think even more pertinent to this show, he is the founder, proprietor, host, the brains behind the operation that is the podcast OK Podcast, a Radiohead podcast. Now, that already, I'm sensing some shared DNA between that podcast and this podcast. Listeners, welcome Sean Perrin to the show. How you doing, Sean?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Now, before we get into Radiohead too heavy duty, I would love to hear you and Zach kind of talk about how this came to be. And whichever of you wants to go ahead.
Wouldn't want to get into it too soon. I've heard listening to some episodes. We want to wait a while, right?
Right. Yes. Yeah. We like on this podcast to very slowly reveal very inane information is a key component of this podcast.
I was like, oh no, don't tell them about the Radiohead podcast too soon.
That's true. Hold on. Maybe we should record an alt where I'm just like, all right, so this virtual stranger is here. And
some guy from the internet is here with us tonight.
Yeah. And we already know he's listened to the podcast. He said that. So as far as our listeners know, you could be here you might have major beef with Idio Talk podcast, and that could be why
maybe that's why I'm really here tonight.
Oh, I look forward to.
No, I think it's pretty funny because I remember I listened to your guys' content a few episodes so far. I'm trying to get all of them through, but there's a lot now, which is great. Actually, I think it's great you guys are doing so many. Actually, I find it so funny. I remember I was talking to Zach about it. Actually, I think you said something, Walker, in one of the episodes, like, we don't say sorry here, or something like that. And I thought that was pretty good. So no, I like the humor. I like the concept. I like that it's a different spin than I'm kind of doing on my show. So it's always great. I think that it's one of those things to have more conversation about Radiohead's probably better, right?
Yeah.
It's not like someone's going to be like, oh no, we can only have one Radiohead podcast. In fact, I think there's like 6 or something. I don't know who really listens to some of them because I can't even name them all probably. But it definitely was not a lonely world out there when I started. So one more is totally fine by me.
Well, see, I appreciate that, but I have taken a different attitude on this show,
so which is here to berate me.
No, I'm okay with any Radiohead podcast that existed before Idio Talk, and you do predate. Not afterwards. This is the last one. We're closing the book.
I guess so, right? And so I remember I was listening to you guys at first. I didn't know it was going to be a comedic vibe to it. And I texted Zach. I was like, what do you mean you guys don't know of any other Radiohead podcasts? You've been on my podcast, Zach.
I was like, listen 5 more minutes in. Don't worry. Yeah. It's okay.
And I was like, I think my sarcasm meter is broken. It still is. So sorry, guys.
Well, I think that's kind of where I wanted to elaborate on how we came to know each other, Sean, because even though we're all joking around here, I will say...
let's cut the bullshit. Let's get serious.
Yeah, let's get serious. We're talking about Radiohead. Exactly.
Are we though?
Well, it's kind
my
of
goal is to stall it for as long as possible to get to the Radiohead. I want this to be like 59 minutes of intro and then 1 minute of Radiohead at the end.
So initially, I reached out to Sean, and he was so gracious in his response to me because I was a huge fan. I was and am a huge fan of OK Podcast. And like you said, it's a different kind of vibe, different kind of spin. You've gotten some amazing guests on there. It's definitely shorter. We've talked about the length at this point of our show. And
talk about Radiohead.
You talk about Radiohead. But I was sort of sensing, because I was just so loving the podcast, I was like, man, it's got to be hard because like there's only so many guests that one could get. because Radiohead don't give regular interviews. And even though, like Walker mentioned, Clarinet is an immensely successful podcast and an OK podcast seems like it is as well, that's sort of like the mystique of Radiohead, right? Is that they're not, going on shows left and right. And I just kind of emailed Sean and asked him, like, what are the challenges associated with that? And he was really gracious to respond. We kind of struck up a conversation, and then eventually he invited me to come on the show and talk about Radiohead, which listeners, you should go listen to. It was a great episode chatting with Sean on his show. We'll put it in the notes. But it's just so funny in retrospect to me. I'm like, it was very courteous of you to not be like, yeah, thanks, I've got it. But instead, like, kind of strike up a conversation about the band and honestly, really kind of bring up Walker's done podcasts before, but bring up my kind of confidence and interest in starting a show about Radiohead. So we definitely think of you as our pod brother in that way.
No, I appreciate that. And I definitely think you guys are doing a good job. And I think that it's, I love your intro music and the vibe. I think it's just fun. I think it's good sometimes to have a, fun spin on things too. I always took a more kind of serious approach, I guess, to the interviews and things, but it kind of made me think too, like, yeah, it's okay to lighten up a bit and from time to time. And, but it's funny, there's a funny story a little bit here too. So the reason OK Podcast isn't quite as successful as my other show is not entirely just because the other one was started earlier. I mean, I have almost 200 episodes of that one, but OK Podcast is around 15 right now. But the biggest reason is because I chose to launch it like the same week my daughter was born. And I was like, oh, I can't be that busy with a baby. And it totally was. And it's just been crazy along the way. And, Zach is being pretty generous here because I think I took around a year to release your episode. It just took so long.
Well, yeah, but it ended up working out great because
Good. Yeah.
It was, you launched it right as we were launching our show. And the association, I'm sure, helped us get a little bit of notoriety. But let's talk a little bit about.
Well, hold on. Before we move on, yeah. Is it okay if I ask some more questions about, because I am curious about the association of my co-host here with Sean, the host of OK Podcast. So I did listen to Zach's episode, and I've listened to some other episodes of OK Podcast too. Really enjoy it. But it has been a while since I heard Zach. So at the time that you interviewed him, was Idiotalk was he plugging Idiotalk at that time?
No, I think Idiotalk came to be because I just wasn't releasing episodes partly, and I think Zach was feeling a creative urge, and I think that's fine.
We saw a gap in the marketplace, and
yeah, exactly. Kick him while he's down. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I think that it's kind of it motivated me to get the episode with Zach out because I was like, what am I doing? Why did this take me so long? And I just got it together, got it out. And but I did want to get it out in time for you guys to kind of give you a bit of a boost if I could, because I was surprised when I logged in after about a year. The numbers were really good. I mean, some of these people, thousands of people have listened to some of these episodes, and not real big names too, just like fans. And I think that that's some of the best stuff is just talking with fans about their experience, meeting with the band, listening to the band, what they love about the band, all sorts of stuff, right? But it inspired me to reach out to some people though, like Christopher O'Reilly. I had tried him years ago and never got him on and just was like, oh, whatever, I'll just leave it. But he was gracious. He was actually in my city. And that's how we ended up connecting. I was like, wait a minute. I was on his Instagram and I was like, wait a minute, is that Calgary in the background? And he's like, yeah, I'm up here for a conference. I'm like, Jesus, I wish I knew because I would have went. And we struck up a conversation and I mentioned the podcast and he was more than willing to come on, which was great. And then that actually led to me getting in touch with Clive Deemer, who is Radiohead's, second and touring drummer now. And we talked a couple of weeks ago, and that interview is like just finished and waiting to come out, but I haven't, actually released it yet. So maybe Monday.
I'm excited to hear that.
Yeah, I didn't want to speak to that unless you were comfortable mentioning it. But
it's totally all good. Yeah, it's so cool. But I've also talked to a guy who recorded on National Anthem with the horns or saxophone, I guess he plays. And it's been an interesting journey. Steve Hamilton, that guy who has that OK Computer versus Brahms or whatever it's called. That was kind of fun too. So I kind of tried to have a blend of bigger names combined with fans and YouTubers and people who do covers. Warren Lane, everybody knows too, of course. But we actually struck a bit of a chord, no pun intended, and he's been helping me work on even some songwriting projects and guitar. And basically, I'm having like some guitar and production lessons with him. So yeah, it's been good. It's what I love about my first podcast too, is just all the connections and meeting people. And I feel like I have friends all around the world and enemies now too, who are copying me. No, I'm just kidding.
This is what I'm curious about, Sean, is now Zach comes on your show as a fan of the podcast. Then by the time the episode's coming out, he's sneakily become your competitor in the podcast space.
No, that's not really what happened. We've been talking about it, and I was like, because we actually kept in touch. We just struck a vibe, and we kept in touch over the year. And finally, I was like, look, man, I got to get this episode out. If you're launching your show, I want to have this out too. And he'd actually asked me, is it cool if I do this too? And I was like, yeah, man, it's totally fine. It's all good. I think that, like I said, sometimes the more the merrier, right? I mean, I don't think there's a problem. More people talking about Radiohead, and but you're right. It stops now. Like let's make a pact. If we find anyone else, we're gonna head out there and.
So I'm unable to sow discord here between our two podcasts. Is what I'm finding. You're completely unflappable. This is what I think this is. This is we each have kind of our share of the market space, and right now this is like in The Godfather when the 5 families have to sit down and make a decision that affects all the other families.
I guess so.
Sean, like, what got you into Radiohead in the first place? Do you have like a pivotal moment in your life that this band kind of came into your consciousness? What was your journey getting into the band?
Yeah, so back when, what grade was I in? Probably like grade 10 or 11. I think it was like 2002. I just, used to go to record stores, right? And that just used to be a thing. And I used to love going to record stores. And I basically had a part-time job to buy CDs, And I was trying to save money on CDs because I was buying so many. And I would go to used CD stores, which is an unimaginable concept now. But anyway, I went in one day and I was getting into little bands here and there and mostly like punk and like Offspring and Sum 41. You might not know that band, but just stuff like that.
Oh, buddy, and, we know Sum 41.
Do you know Sum 41?
Yeah. We know they hail from Canada, but they were
they do. I've seen them live. It was my first experience seeing a mosh pit, and I was like, "What is going on?" But
I loved Sum 41. I mean, I was their target demo.
Yeah, well,
their rebellious attitude really spoke to 14-year-old Walker.
Exactly right. But I discovered a local band from Vancouver called Matthew Good Band, and they just had a different sort of tone to the songwriting. And I still think he's one of the best songwriters there's ever been, and some really great albums. But I discovered his music, and I sort of ran out of it. He only had 3 or 4 albums at the time, and I went to the record store. And the guy, I said, hey, I'm looking for something kind of like Matthew Good Band. What do you know of? And he just said, oh, you probably would like Radiohead. But all we got right now is this CD, OK Computer. It's a bit weird, but you might like it. I took it home and I had this strange pleasure in like listening to it the first time and finding that it wasn't quite as good as Matthew Good. And I was like, I don't know. I felt like a weird, almost like pretension about it. I was like, yeah, this guy sounds like a weirdo, and I guess he is,
and a creep.
And a creep, yeah. But I just thought it sounded kind of tacky for some reason. I don't know why, but I've since learned that anytime I have that reaction to music when I don't like it at first, I better learn to love it because it's coming, And it was just like sitting there in the background while I was doing math homework, and I was kind of zoning out to it. And this is a great way to listen to Radiohead, actually, when you're not fully like listening, you're just kind of like it's there. If that makes any sense. And suddenly something just struck me about it, like the interplay between the bass and the drums and the little cello thing that I've kind of heard over top. And I was like, damn, this is actually really interesting. And I got like obsessed from then on. The next few weeks, I bought all of their albums. I remember because I would go for the 3 for 30, and they had 9 albums at the time. And I had to like add something else because I was getting all 8, but I already had the 9th, and I didn't want to buy it again. Or sorry, not 9, but there was EPs and stuff like My Iron Lung and all that stuff you could throw in there, but I couldn't make quite a set, and I had to buy something else, which I don't know what it was. But now I'm really rambling. But yeah, no, I just discovered it because of other music that was similar, I guess, thanks to that guy at the record store. And it just struck a chord with me. And I remember going to pick up Hail to the Thief when it came out, skipping class.
Well, let's pause there for a second, because I love that you started at OK Computer, because Sean, I know that we've mentioned it several times. I know that you can play strings. Walker and I have both listened to some of your music. It's really good where you're playing guitar and stuff. And you mentioned Warren. But it seems that woodwind and brass, which is what the clarinet is, right? It would be
woodwind. Yeah.
Is that seems to be kind of your focus and like where your proficiency is at. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I did a degree in clarinet, so
amazing.
That's kind of my main.
So, and I know that Kid A ranks incredibly highly for you. So we were just talking about OK Computer. Would you say that Kid A is more impactful because it features maybe more of the like instrumentation? No, it just hits all the right chords.
I never really have been drawn towards that kind of music in a pop setting. In fact, David Bowie Blackstar was one of the albums that recently I was kind of like, ooh, this is really cool. But not that many artists really have done that in the pop realm. And I remember being interested that there was some clarinet on Amnesiac, but it wasn't really like, I like this more because I think, though, in a way, there's this idea that, classical musicians or something have this sort of ear that's tuned beyond a lot of pop listeners or something. But in a way, I think it's just different types of listening. I mean, the thing I like about Radiohead, I think anyone can kind of appreciate with some sort of musical sense, I suppose, is just that it's kind of like an onion. You can just peel off layers and there's always something else underneath. And I don't really know how they do that because there must be a finite number of things going on, but somehow it doesn't seem that way when I'm listening. Like Kid A, I could listen to it today and find something I have never heard before, and I don't know how that's possible, but it just is. And that's one thing I love about orchestral music or classical music, I suppose, is that sometimes there's just so much going on, and it feels a lot more dense in that way. And so I guess the orchestration, of Radiohead really draws me in that sense, but I've never thought about it like that. I like.
Yeah, it's probably boxing you and Radiohead in a little bit to be like, oh, it's your favorite because it may feature
there's
the
a
instrument
clarinet.
that you're the best. But it definitely builds upon the layering and depth that starts on the bends and then is so much more exponential in OK Computer. And then, it is dealer's choice after Kid A and beyond. But I just think that was just a question I was just curious about, it's such a great album. But I don't know, Walker, did you have anything?
Well, I mean, I do really appreciate your answer, and I'm not surprised that your tastes are broader than the instrument that's your main instrument. But if Radiohead, so they haven't put out a new album since 2016 at this point. If we got an announcement that was like, we're putting out a new record in 2023, and guess what? It's an all clarinet record. All 5 of us are playing clarinets. Would you feel particularly excited about that, or would that be troubling?
I think that sounds pretty disappointing, to be honest. I mean, I love clarinet. I don't know if I love it that much that I would miss Radiohead for it,
And the only one who's proficient at it at all is Johnny, and the rest of us are just playing one drone.
Well, and can you imagine Ed's textures? He'd be like, toot, every now and then.
Well, he might finally have something to do, I guess, right?
He's played it backwards.
Yeah, right. Well, this company just released some product that actually will finally turn the clarinet into like a MIDI or instrument that you could plug into like a looper pedal or something. So I'm actually interested to play with it.
Oh, cool.
And sort of see what that's like. It's like $700. So, Bjork just recently did something like that, though. She had a bunch of clarinet players on. And it's funny you mentioned that because I was going to try and I haven't listened to the newest Bjork album yet. I'm actually not a huge Bjork fan, but they're kind of top of my radar to be interviewed for the other podcast because, like, in the world of clarinet, I like to focus on things that are a little different than just the orchestral careers. Because honestly, to me, I appreciate that they're important, but to me, that's not really my path, and it's not really that interesting. I like to cover a lot of bases, like jazz and contemporary music, and people who played on pop records, and people who play musicals, and just the breadth of what it means to be a clarinetist. And that's not just sitting in a chair in an orchestra, No. I mean, there's a lot going on, and I guess Radiohead maybe can come for lessons someday if they're gonna plan their.
That would be very exciting.
One thing that I thought was really cool too, Sean, and talking to other musicians like yourself, I don't know a lot of other clarinetists. But you were saying that, maybe there's this idea that people have that people that are trained musicians hear music differently. And you were kind of saying that maybe dispelling that a little bit. But I do think I succumb to that a little bit precisely because like you sent me this amazing video of a clarinetist doing basically all the melody parts of 2 + 2 = 5. And I watched it and I was like, man, this is so cool. And I was thinking, I haven't told you this yet, but I was like, I think that's one of the unique things about Radiohead melodies. When you hear them played through other instruments, I sometimes wonder, man, I wonder if this melody was created with 2 + 2 = 5, that video, it sounded more natural on a clarinet, is what I mean to say. It still sounded amazing. Yes. And I was like, I wonder if that's sometimes how they come up with these amazing songs played through what we deem to be sort of traditional Western instruments, setting aside the Owens Martineau for a minute. And we talked about that a little bit in our Eraser episode, that like Tom learned how to play a lot of those songs through acoustic instruments and then sort of translated them digitally. I think it's just this really, really cool thing. It's only speculation, but Walker, you want to say something?
Well, I don't want to like hold you to just being like resident clarinet expert in terms of Radiohead, but I was pondering could we like figure out really quick which Radiohead songs do have clarinet in them? Do you know that?
Only one. Yeah,
Life in a Glass House.
Life in a Glass House.
I think it's only Life in a Glass House, and I've tried to reach Jimmy Hastings many times to have him play. The other tracks that feature brass live, sometimes they'll do it. Yeah, National Anthem. But live, actually, okay, wait. There's actually out there somewhere a live recording of them on the Stephen Colbert Show, and I actually noticed in the background there was a contrabass clarinet, and I had not heard that on the album. So I think the live version of that, what they did at that show, Stephen Colbert or whatever his name is, he had brought along, he being Tom York, they brought along the people to play National Anthem, and I think they just put them to work on a couple other tracks because they played, I think it might have been Bloom or something, Morning Mr. Magpie or something like that. Yeah, it's on YouTube, and I just noticed it. So like on the studio, I'm almost 100% positive there's only clarinet on Life in a Glass House, but in the live setting, I've seen it, the contrabass there, and they've played Live in a Glass House only once, Life in a Glass House live only once with Jimmy Hastings and never again. So that would have been kind of cool to see.
Only that one, and the clarinet, it's doing that melody after the first chorus, right, where it's like
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, so I mean, a really standout moment for the clarinet in Radiohead's catalog.
It is kind of cool. Yeah, it's almost like a Dixieland style kind of playing. It's sort of neat. But yeah, there's only a couple songs. There's National Anthem and there's Life in a Glass House. There might be a couple other like small moments that use brass or wind instruments, but they don't come to mind easily for me.
Yeah, and I feel like not that no one really comes to mind specifically, but I just know that like to go that bombastic experimentation wise and instrumentation wise, it just so often just really makes me cringe when other artists have tried to do that. And obviously it's all subjective, but I just love how Kid A builds upon that layering and depth of OK Computer, but they're doing it with more instruments instead of with technology. And I think Amnesiac is really kind of a continuation of that. And I was curious if you rank things this way, where Amnesiac as an album ranks overall for you, kind of in comparison to just Kid A, or any of them, I guess. Actually,
yeah. I was having a thought. I think it's left me. What was I going to say? Oh, well, one thing I do appreciate, just to add to what you were saying, is that Radiohead likes to play with textures, but I enjoy and appreciate how they use, almost always from what I can tell, when it's called for, they use a proper acoustic instrument. Like they'll use a string section. They won't just use synth strings. And they use some synths here and there, but usually for the sound of a synth. And they seem to know when it's artistically appropriate to put the proper instrument in its right place, and I think that's some credit to them. And I was surprised when I talked to Stephen Hamilton, who played saxophone on Kid A. Like Tom was, for the first few years especially, fairly loyal about using the same sax players. It wasn't just like they landed in some city and was like, hey, who plays sax? Like if they were going to play that version of the song, they would call him. And so he played on like Saturday Night Live and a few other things. And I think now, though, over the years, it's kind of evolved, and they rarely do that anymore. I think the last time they played it with horns was 2011 on the Stephen Colbert Show. But I don't think they've done it since. But and then your question about, I don't know, some people would disagree with me, but I've always in my head kind of considered But Kid A is number one. I could, I hate to say it, but I could live without Amnesiac. Kid A is my number one. Now, I'm not saying I could live without Amnesiac in place of some other record. I just think that if I could only choose one, I would choose Kid A. But I've always felt that Kid A and Amnesiac are the same album. So I think that was confirmed for me when they released that Kid Amnesia thing, and they just released it as a dual set, because I was like, to me, it's always been that in my head. So I have trouble ranking them. Like, I don't want to go 1 and 2 because to me they're just kind of an entity. So yeah, I think for me it's Kid A, Amnesiac's number one, Hail to the Thief, OK Computer, The Bends, Moonshaped Pool.
Whoa, buddy.
In Rainbows.
Whoa.
Did I put it before the Bends or after? I think the Bends came first. Yeah, I know. I'm not a huge fan of In Rainbows. It was one of my life's disappointments.
Oh my God.
You can fire me now.
No, it's just this is a brutal showing for In Rainbows. I know I respect the hotness of this take, but I'm scandalized.
See, I have a theory about this though, and I really don't mean to be a contrarian here, but you were saying that like the clarinet being your primary instrument doesn't really guide too much of your taste, but I think that just even hearing the ranking of your Radiohead albums, and that In Rainbows would be kind of so much towards the bottom. And I remember in our conversation in particular, you're saying that like they push different types of song forms, but they sort of do less expanded instrumentation. And I do think that like everyone's going to have unique tastes, of course, but I do think I could see that a little bit if Kid A was just what appealed to me the most within their discography.
But if that were true, why would I rank the Bends higher?
That's where my theory falls apart.
Here's the actual reason though. Like, and it's nothing that's wrong with In Rainbows. And honestly, if I just heard In Rainbows by itself, I probably would have been thrilled. But the problem for me is it was kind of a letdown because I had been listening so intently that whole summer because I missed out on getting tickets to the 2006 tour. And I was hoping to go to like 4 shows. I couldn't get tickets in any city. And it was before like scalping websites and stuff, so I just kind of gave up. But fans of Radiohead are really good about recording the show and then used to be able to torrent them right away. And so on that tour, they were releasing, I think for the first time, kind of unfinished versions of songs and trying them out. And I was really, really a big fan of the energy and the arrangement and the style that they were going for on those. And especially like songs like Videotape. I know they were a little maybe more intense or drawn out or Coldplay-ish or something, but I don't know, those versions of the song to me are the definitive In Rainbows versions. I much prefer the live versions of all those songs. And so when In Rainbows came out, it just felt a little meh. I didn't like it the same. I had my playlists of the live shows, and I still would rather listen to a lot of those live versions than the album ones. And I don't think it's a bad album. For me it wasn't. I don't want to criticize them for moving past the Radiohead sound, but for me, they were discovering their sound a bit in Hail to the Thief after the Kid era. I felt like they could have taken that a little further and adapted a little bit more, but they did go back to their roots. But I think that's one level of my, I don't want to say dislike of it, but it's just not my favorite for those reasons. I don't know. They departed from their sound that I was becoming very attracted to. So you're not entirely wrong. I mean, that is one of the reasons. But also just, I don't know, the live versions to me were just better. And I wish, I guess in a way, I actually really prefer the live, from the basement for that same reason. Because it kind of had a little bit of that energy back. But it was still the arrangements that I wasn't so fond of in the end,
Okay. Well, I really would love to. I have a tab open on my phone that I've had forever of all these categorized bootleg shows like you're talking about, and I definitely will make a point to go listen to some of those shows. Now, the one song that I know was kicking around for a really long time from In Rainbows is Nude, and they play like a much heavier version of that. You see them sound checking with it in Meeting People Is Easy. Is that somewhat how they were still playing it as they were getting ready to do In Rainbows?
Nude was probably the one actually I think is most similar to how it turned out. And actually Nude is probably my favorite track on In Rainbows. So I think that like a big lacking ones for me were Videotape. Like they had a chance to do something really intense and just kind of just didn't. And I know why they chose not to, because I think that they often choose not to sound like someone else on purpose. Actually, that's something Clive Deemer told me that the other day. He said that they'll basically make decisions sometimes based on, I don't want to say being obtuse, but like they're trying not to sound like some other band on purpose because they found that by accident they sounded like that. But I sometimes wish that they would have embraced that, because I wouldn't mind hearing a little bit of what Radiohead would have done with almost like a Coldplay-esque sound, because Coldplay sure doesn't do a good job.
Don't you think it'd be unfair to Coldplay, though, if Radiohead was the best at being Radiohead and Coldplay?
And Muse and all the other bands. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think that they could have touched on that. I mean, but yeah, I mean, if you get a chance, go just listen through some of those. And, it's been a while since I listened to a lot of them, but I just remembered they lived in my headphones all 2006 summer while I was walking around listening to those songs. Now, I remember being fascinated with the new stuff, because here's the thing. I was wondering I knew how the Kid A songs were live. They kind of turned more rockish live.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering, how are they going to go back from this and make it in the studio? And I was, they're even more stripped down, even more rockish. Yeah, it was. I guess, Zach, you're kind of right, I guess.
Oh yeah, I know. But I think that I'm just kidding. I think though that kind of does go to the vibe. Like another song I think that's a B-side from In Rainbows, but is Up on the Ladder. One of my favorite Radiohead B-sides of all time. But like, there's only one video that I've been able to find on YouTube, and it is so hard rock. I don't know of a better, even though it's a generic term, way to put it. And I to the extent where I don't like it, it sounds like Radiohead in the Benz era. And it's maybe from 2005, so not long before, so they're still trying it out. But I think that the way In Rainbows is sort of translated from the way they were playing the songs live onto the album is very much in line with like what Tom and Nigel were doing on The Eraser. We kind of mentioned, or I mentioned before, where it's like, and I get sometimes that does hurt a little bit, where I'm like, I want to hear it on instruments or the tempo or how hard you were playing it before. But I do think that speaks a little bit to even maybe what Clive was saying, that they do things to be, not obtuse, but even though it may be satisfactory the way they were playing it before to some ears, sometimes they translate stuff to a little bit more of a mellow tone. And sometimes that may be a little too sterile, but
I think they're just trying to be unique. But, I think that also sometimes one can try too hard to be unique. I mean, there's something to be said sometimes for just letting it be what it wanted to become, And to me, the song's most natural forms, I guess, were just what I was hearing live. And I just was interested to see how they would refine that. And then they completely left turn. So in a way, I guess, in a strange way, I guess I know how OK Computer fans felt when Kid A came out.
Sure.
It was just a bit of a left turn, and I was not expecting it, and I was not. But even I remember on the 2008 tour when I went, I really if I could have a time machine, I would go back and go to all the shows in 2000, 2001, because for me that's like the epitome of Radiohead. I would have loved to just they're the peaks, or I mean the peak of Radiohead for me. And I would have just loved that. And the biggest reason I would love it, because I wouldn't have to worry about In Rainbows songs getting in the way. I don't enjoy them live either anymore. I don't know. Whenever they come up, I'm like, oh God, it's all I need again. And
oh my God, Sean!
Get a beer.
Wow. Well, I won't say how I feel about All I Need, because our In Rainbows episode is upcoming, but I'm sure my gutted reaction will tell people.
Gotta turn off my downloads for that one.
How many times have you seen the band?
I believe 9, should have been 10. So let me think here. So Montreal, 2008.
Okay, this is your first show?
First show. And then New York, same year, same tour. And I was only supposed to go one night, but I found a guy to sell me tickets to the second night. So I went twice. And then that same tour, I went to Vancouver. So I went 4 times that summer. And then I didn't actually see them again. I was supposed to go in 2012. And I was in Toronto. And that was when the stage collapsed and they got canceled. So that was shitty, obviously for many more reasons than me not seeing Radiohead. But I just felt, I was pretty upset after that, as everyone was, I guess. So that would have been 5. And then I saw them twice in Montreal 2016. Twice in Montreal 2018, wow. Once in Seattle Wait, we're already up to 9. And then I also saw Tom York solo once. And so I guess should have been 10 times, 11 if you count Tom York solo show. But I didn't get to go to the Toronto one, obviously, because nobody did. So
yeah,
that is a very respectable number. That's
considering I always had to travel either internationally or over 1,000 kilometers. It was not easy. So
what year?
You're allowed to think whatever you want about In Rainbows. Now that your bona fides check out. Zach, Zach, sorry, what was your question?
What year did you see Tom solo?
2019, just before the pandemic, and that was when I met him. Yeah.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Yeah, I know that you met Tom, and I was hoping you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So actually, for those listening, I did a whole episode about this, just talking about it, because I wanted to I just wanted to share the story while it was fresh in my mind. I think I'm just checking when I released that episode. I said I met Tom York. It was November, so it was actually almost a year later. That's surprising. It took me so long. Anyway.
You were just still calming down.
I was still
met the principal songwriter of Radiohead.
Exactly right. So there was this concert out in Vancouver. It was so funny because I was going to go anyways, but my work was like, "Hey, could you come out here for a work weekend, these days?" And I was like, "Wait, what? Yeah, I can." And I actually went to the concert with the CEO's son of my company, and he's a big Radiohead fan too. But anyway, so I was staying 2 blocks away too in this really nice hotel, and so I was just I was able to walk there, and afterwards there was a couple super fans I met in Montreal who had been texting me about he's going to come out after, and I was like, he's probably not, but then I realized, well, maybe he will, because this is a lot smaller venue than I've ever seen him in before. Usually it's just stadium, or a hockey arena or something, which in Canada are quite large. Or an outdoor festival. In Montreal, there was 120,000 people there or something, longest set they'd played in 10 years or something. Anyway, but so I went out back and I saw the line of people, and I was like, you know what? I brought my copy of Kid A just in case. And I just went and stood in this line of people. I brought a pen. By the way, if you're ever meeting people, bring a pen, because you're going to need it, right? If you want them to sign something. But I just decided to wait in this line. And while I was in the line, I got really anxious. I was like, I don't know if I should meet my idol, because you hear those horror stories, and I wanted to kind of keep the magic. Mm-hmm. So I almost left the line, and I was like, I just don't know if I want to have this experience. And that sounds kind of weird to say now, but maybe if it went badly, I would have regretted it. I don't know. But they were coming up the line, and I didn't know if he was going to sign 5 people's CDs or 3 people's or 20. And I was about 50 people up, and I was actually past the barriers that they'd set up. So I was like, even if he comes, I started feeling like maybe I should leave because I'm about to get disappointed, and I'd rather make the choice myself to leave than get shut down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know why I had all this anxiety about it. It's kind of ridiculous looking back, but it meant a lot to me, and he came up the line, and to my amazement, he actually signed and talked to everybody in the whole lineup. And I don't know if this kind of stuff will happen anymore in the post-pandemic world, so I feel lucky. But yeah, he came along, and he signed everything, and he came up to me, and he's a lot shorter, and I'm not a tall guy. I'm 5'8", and that was my first thought, is man, he's a lot shorter than I realized. But then I just said hey man, I thought about what to say, and I think the only thing I should say is thank you so much for the music. Kid A changed my life. And he just was like, me too, man. Me too. And
that's great.
I really wanted a picture, but they don't allow that. And then I handed him my Kid A, and he said, what do you want me to draw? And I said, well, I'd love it if you draw a Kid A bear and then the Tom, as the O in your name. And so he wrote that on the CD, which I have on my wall over there. I wish I could show you guys now, but I'll send you a picture later. But that was kind of it. And he moved on. And but yeah, surprisingly friendly. And maybe it would have been a different experience 20 years ago when I think he was a little bit more angsty or something. But I guess it was what it needed to be. It was very, it was very good. But actually, I did invite him on the podcast too, and he just kind of laughed, and I was like, "Yeah, I expected that."
That's wonderful, though.
By the way, I have a Radiohead podcast, and he's like, "Okay." He just walked away.
He's whispering to a lawyer, "Okay, send this guy a cease and desist letter."
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. So that was kind of it, and it was it was a good experience. I'm glad it happened. And I never, though, thought like I'd get the chance to meet him. So if I get the chance, ever to interview other band members, it'll be just awesome. I don't know what would happen. I'll just lose it.
Well, I love what you're saying too about not, because I can totally relate. Walker and I both have independent anxieties too. I can't speak for him, but I know I would go through that whole cycle that you described. I don't think it's crazy at all because meeting your idols can be. I mean, imagine if it had gone, and you're a reasonable guy. If he just didn't have time or something, it's not like that would have destroyed Radiohead's whole discography. But if it had been a really bad interaction, the stakes are so high because the music is so important to you and it means so much artistically and all that. And so I can absolutely relate, and I just think it's really cool. I love that detail of him saying "me too."
It was the way he said it. It was like totally non-sarcastic. Like it was like,
that's awesome.
Like, it did,
Yeah. So what a great. That's so awesome.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you had a positive interaction with them, and because I think that if you hadn't, there would be even secondhand kind of blowback from even just hearing that would be like, oh, that's a bummer. I think I'd still be able to enjoy the music, but it sure makes it better when people are nice.
Totally. Yeah. And, I know I am able to enjoy music of artists I don't like because there's lots of artists I don't like. And even some that I've met, and I'm like, man, you're kind of a dick. and I could just get past it because it's music, right?
Yeah. Well, you've sent me some Matthew Good. I wasn't familiar with him prior to us kind of exchanging a little bit of our taste outside of Radiohead, and I know that we've talked a little bit about Elliott Smith. Walker and I are huge Elliott Smith fans, and I know Matthew Good's his own thing, and I know that album to album, even it seems like he really kind of plays in different styles and so forth. But I was curious, if just quickly we could, if you other bands like that maybe play a role similar to Radiohead for you.
Well, there was a point where I realized that I wasn't sure I was a Radiohead fan. I think I'm actually almost a Nigel Godrich fan because everything he touches turns to gold, whether it's Beck or Warpaint or Radiohead or you name it. Sure. Right? There's so many great albums that he's worked on, and Air even. I mean, everything he works on, I'm like, damn, this is extremely well produced, and I really like it. Mm-hmm. So I find that I am just a big fan of everything that he's touched, first of all. So all that. Radiohead, obviously. Sigur Rós was a big one for me when I was younger. I loved their longer song forms that were just super. There was no vibe like that back in 1999, 2000. It was super unique, What else did I listen to? Yeah, Elliott Smith. Let me just I can't open my iTunes because my drive's not plugged in. But Matthew Good was a big one for me. And I still think he's actually one of the greatest songwriters. Talk Talk, I'm a huge fan of. Mark Hollis, too bad he died a couple years ago. Yes, I like Yes a lot.
Rock band.
Yeah, they're great. I've been into a lot of different bands, and but as far as alternative rock or whatever, that's probably the core of it, I would say. I mean, I'm sure there's stuff I'm missing, but that's kind of the ones that come to mind right now.
It's just always interesting to hear folks that are equally passionate and excited about Radiohead because they are such their own amalgamation of so many different styles. What else they listen to, and Sigur Rós, the Icelandic band, quite a few people that are really into Radiohead. There seems to be some overlap there, but yeah, I was just curious.
One of the problems with Radiohead, I don't know if you guys had this or have this, but a lot of people report this side effect of listening to Radiohead is that you kind of can't get that feeling from any other band. After you're kind of jonesing.
I suffer from that for sure.
Yeah, it's like, oh god, I got to get my fix of that Radiohead feeling, and I can't find it anywhere but Radiohead. What am I gonna do? I got the same. My wife.
What's
says,
this? The smile? Okay, I'll give it a try. This is close.
Puts a smile on my face. Yeah. But my wife, she jokes that she used to like Radiohead before she met me, and she just can't do it anymore. It's just it's too And
when I was younger.
True. Yeah. Before I met Sean, I liked Radiohead, and now it's just there's only so many times you can listen to. I have a bad habit too. I don't know if you guys do this or what is wrong with me or what this trait is, but I'll put on a song and it just gets stuck in me for a really long time. I think the worst one ever was Morning Bell. I think there was a period of 3 months where hundreds of times a day I listened to Morning Bell, and that was it. And I don't know what that means or what that is, but you can get hooked by it, one song.
I have a theory on that because I've confessed on our very show that that when Walker first kind of just lightly introduced me to the band via In Rainbows, and I was really intrigued. I downloaded Street Spirit, Paranoid Android, and My Iron Lung, and listened to those 3 songs for literally the entire summer of 2008. And not every day, all day, but those were the only 3 Radiohead songs I listened to on repeat. And I think it goes back to a couple of things. I think probably we were both obsessive people, right? But more than that, I think it goes to the layering and the depth of what Radiohead are able to do. And with those songs, and with Morning Bell as well, it's in a 5-time, right? Very unconventional. Their tendrils just like hook into you. And I think that even if you are a musician, your curiosity's piqued. It's really hard to satisfy that with a lot of Radiohead songs. And I think our brains just kind of want to know more, like with classical music. And that's a way I think that they really, really are timeless. And Johnny Greenwood and of course the rest of the band, I think, are a big part of that.
Yeah, totally.
I'm sorry. No, please go. I was going to interject.
You have to... sorry. I know we can't say sorry, but I have to. I can't help it. Sorry, A.
Yeah. Oh my God! And this is where I play.
To say sorry here, right?
Yeah, this is where I get to play my role as the ugly American.
Exactly right.
That's the Sean. We've finally hit upon it. The difference between our podcasts is yours is the courteous Radiohead podcast, and ours is the in your face Radiohead podcast.
I wish I could remember exactly what you said. Like, here we don't say sorry, or something like that.
Honestly, I don't remember that, but it sounds like the kind of dumbass thing I would say.
So made me laugh. Anyways, I was like, I like that. Let's go with that.
I love the idea of just deliberately courting controversy when it's completely unnecessary. I was just going to ask you what a good starting point with Matthew Good is, because based on the other things that you're saying you're into, I have a feeling I would really enjoy his music. So I want to load that up to listen to later.
Actually, he has a song called Load Me Up. That's funny you say that. So he's got, I would say, he's one of these artists who never stopped releasing stuff about every year from the time he started until now. So in my opinion, he's a little too prolific, and a lot of his later stuff, like, it has its merits. But if it were me, I would say stop around 2007 for now.
Okay.
And then some of his longer form, weirder stuff. It's not like it gets better when it gets weirder. It just is a little bit more drawn out. But his like core songwriting albums, I would say, are probably the 1997 one, Underdogs.
Okay. I see.
And
that
then
right
the second
here.
one, Beautiful Midnight. Beautiful Midnight's a great album, but make sure you listen to the Canadian version. There's an interesting story about that. I'll come back to in a second. Audio of Being, that's probably my favorite, but it's his most sort of, he hates that one and never plays anything from it because that's what broke up his band, and he was apparently on drugs or something at that time, or I don't know. And then Matthew Good, his solo album, which was called Avalanche, is really cool. I've shared some of those songs with Zach.
I loved a lot of that.
Yeah, it's a little bit more, I don't know if it's put together as well. I mean, I think honestly when he lost his bandmates, a little bit of the core of the band was lost, because I think they were doing a lot of the arranging and guitar parts. And then he did one more, which was kind of cool, called Hospital Music. Oh, and I forgot one called White Light Rock and Roll Review, which I'm not a fan of, but Hospital Music was kind of cool. He's got like 10 more albums. Honestly, there's a point where I can't name them anymore, but he's always good live. Like, he's just great. But really, if you want the core of it, like the Matthew Good band stuff is what I would kind of get into.
Okay, I added Underdogs, and I do see there are 2 versions of Beautiful Midnight. So what's the story on there's one with a red border and one without. Which one's the Canadian version?
Well, so what happened with Matthew Good is that he was becoming really big in Canada.
Okay.
Like really big. Like, he's still really popular here. I'm going to see him in February, actually. And but he just wasn't breaking into other markets. And so what his label decided to do was, for Beautiful Midnight, they decided, like, well, what if we, I don't want to say dumb it down, but to send it south of the border, what if we cut out some of the stuff that's a little more low key and more complicated songs? And what they did is they cut in some of the singles from Underdogs onto it. So Beautiful Midnight US version was a combination of Underdogs and Beautiful Midnight, which actually played super well together because the sound was fairly similar. But the problem with the album was it fell flat on its face, because I think it was released the same day as the Columbine shooting, And there's a track on there called "The Boy and His Machine Gun," which is actually not about a school shooting, but
wow.
So it just was super off-putting to Americans, and nobody picked it up, and he never hit a big, yeah.
That's like Jimmy Eat World and them having to and them releasing Bleed American, like corresponding with 9/11. It was
not a good look, and he just never really. He sometimes goes down to like Buffalo, New York, and plays a show. He's toured once or twice in the UK, but otherwise it's just like constant back and forth in Canada, and but yeah, some of his songs like Apparitions, like there's few songs better than that, and I would sometimes honestly say, and you know, I hate to say this on a Radiohead podcast as an ardent Radiohead fan, but like if we're talking core songwriting abilities, I think that like, you know, Matthew Good, Tom York, Elliott Smith, Mark Hollis might be like the big ones for me, and I think Matthew Good might be at the top. Like he just has a very unique songwriting style. He's not afraid to change the chorus, and it's interesting. I don't know. I like his songs. His melodies are very good.
I'm very excited to check him out.
One of the coolest texts Sean had sent me was when you saw Wilco. And I would also put
Wilco, yes.
Just adding to your list, Jeff Tweedy. I swear to God, guys, today I bought a book that Jeff Tweedy authored. I think it came out in 2020 called How to Write a Song. And it was recommended to me by the one coworker I have who plays music, and you know, we occasionally will chit chat about it. And he has completely different tastes, hardcore punk rock. He was in a hardcore band that like did a worldwide tour and everything. But that was Jeff Tweedy was where we kind of found our overlap. And he's like, man, that book just was so life-changing. He's like, it's one of those things where, you know, it's so applicable to life. And I was like, yeah. Well, I was like, I want to read it. And he's like, okay, cool. And then I messaged him and I'm like, I bought it. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yes, I told you, I love Wilco and I love Jeff Tweedy's writing style. And I do find it comparable to Tom York or similar.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so
I've read that book too. And I think I'd recommend the audiobook version because he actually plays some of his. He's talking about he'll play an example. I know, but he'll play examples, right? And cool. I won't give away the ending of the book if you didn't get there yet. Maybe he gives.
No. I just got it today.
Does he learn how to write a song?
He learns how to write one song. Yeah.
It's so funny to me, Zach, that you're like, my friend was surprised that I bought the book, and it's like, knowing you, it's like, don't underestimate Zach when he takes an interest in what you're doing to he will come on your Radiohead podcast.
He will read a book.
Sean, what are you drinking on the show today? Please tell us about it.
Well, it's super funny because I said to Zach, like, oh, we're gonna have a beer on the show or whatever. He's like, hell yeah, or whatever. But we got this advent calendar, which my wife and I cracked into for some reason in November and finished about a week later. But this, I don't know what happened, but I was just one day, I was like too lazy to go over to the store, and I was like, there's 24 beers right there. And why don't we just get started on that? So
it was an
it was a beer advent calendar.
Okay, I was picturing you guys are just eating like poorly made like chocolate, like we just can't control ourselves.
I see what you mean. Okay, maybe this is a Canadian thing, but here a lot of the craft breweries do like an advent calendar where you get, or not even craft breweries, but like this one's from Costco, which I'm a huge Costco fan, but anyway, they had like a 24 craft beer pack, and I was like, oh, I'll pick this up or whatever. And it was so funny because I was going through it. It was like feeling all guilty because it was, November 6th or something, and we're mostly through it. And but I opened this one up, and it was called. I laughed because I was like, that stupid thing there. That looks like a Kid A bear.
And, sure does.
I just laughed, and I was like, that's so stupid. And I was about to crack it. And I was like, wait a minute, it's called Oatcake Computer. So it's actually it's a Radiohead themed beer, so cool. Chocolate dipped oatcake stout. I don't really know what that means. It does taste like a stout. But yeah, there's a little like OK Computer guy on there, I guess.
That sounds absolutely delicious.
It's like a really interesting, yeah. So I texted Zach right away. I was like, I know what beer I'm having on the podcast. And it says right here, tastes like a chocolate dipped oatcake. No surprises. That made me laugh.
Oh, I love
that. And you managed to, even though it sounds like went through the rest of the advent calendar in like one afternoon. You did save these ones until you.
I did save this one. We had a party and I hid it because I was like, if someone drinks that beer, because I couldn't find it anywhere else. I went looking for maybe a 6-pack of it just to have one around, and or to, show some people or share with friends or whatever. But I had to like hide it during the party we had. I'm like, if someone finds this and drinks it, I'm going to be very angry.
That's so funny to me. And it's very funny. It's very funny that Radiohead is inspiring brewmasters to make something kind of based on their music, because I want to go back to something you said way at the beginning of our conversation. Like, Radiohead are such not a party band. I think on our OK Computer episode, I told Zach a story of accidentally putting on Climbing Up the Walls, like on the iPod dock at a party, and everyone just being like, turn that shit off. Like,
yeah, that happens to me before too. Yeah.
But you earlier were talking about getting into OK Computer, and we blew right past it, but you said you were doing math homework to it. And I was just like, that is just such a perfect encapsulation of Radiohead. It's like, if
I was a loser, yeah. I wasn't at some party, like I was hanging with all these girls and we were
I know, but it's like, hey, let's listen to Sabbath and drop acid, or listen to Radiohead and do math.
Do my math homework. Yeah, I was like a good student. I came home and did my math homework. Yeah, that is kind of a sad story.
No, I mean, I think it's a very Radiohead fan story.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm terrible at math, but it's when Tom was singing about, this guy talks in maths. He was talking about you, Sean.
Yeah.
He didn't even know.
Yeah, that's me right there. Well, you say something interesting, is that I am actually very glad I lived when I lived, because I think that I would have missed something had I been a little older or a little younger with Radiohead. Because like Radiohead fans are all, I mean, the core of their fan base is probably right now about 25 to 40, maybe 45, right? That kind of 15-year window when people sort of gravitate towards music. But it caught me at the perfect time in high school when I was like getting into music, and then throughout university, to release a couple more albums and just kind of get to see them on tour and all those kind of things. It was an important part of in my life to discover them, and I guess I'm pleased I was sort of had that in my life. And I guess other people, if you were a lot older than me, it'd be the Beatles or whatever. But I mean, let's be honest, most Radiohead fans, they're like dads having a midlife crisis right now. It's perfect to get back into it,
Sure.
Gotta spin some of that up here.
And I think to Walker's hilarious observation too, the people that were doing their math homework to Radiohead are the people I literally want to hang out with. So it's it worked out. People that were partying and listening to Aerosmith can fuck off.
Well, there is a bit of a
there's that idiot talk attitude again, making enemies with the Aerosmith fan community.
Freaking Americans I'm talking to here. I'm at the concert. Excuse me.
Cool Aerosmith shirt.
Yeah. Exactly right. But no, I think there's a little bit of kind of a vibe too of like Radiohead fans. They've got each other's backs. Actually, I remember at the Vancouver show in 2008. It was so funny because the label reader stopped working, and this was back before like all this Ticketmaster bullshit and stuff like that. And you needed a physical ticket that you printed at home and came to the concert. And I remember it being really funny because it was sold out, obviously. And but the machine had broken to check the tickets, so people were running across to like there was a Kinko's there, which is like a photocopy store, photocopying tickets, and just everyone was just going in. It was like, but it was like understood, like, oh shit, there's some guys over there that don't have tickets. Let's help them out and go get them some tickets.
We have each other's backs because there's no mosh pit. We're just standing peacefully.
Yes,
crying
just
to the
stands.
There's a sway pit where we gently bump into each other while sadly rocking back and forth.
Yeah, and it's some sort of stupor of depression. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I've never really identified with that with Radiohead. It sounds very energetic to me, but maybe my tastes are just really strange.
No, I totally agree. I think that it's fun to play into like what the stereotype of people who maybe listen to them, but just look at the band play live. Look at Johnny. I mean, of course they can rock out. I think Phil doesn't know how to rock out, but he's an amazing drummer, so it's okay. But no, I couldn't agree more. And I mean, it's and that is, I don't know if there's any band that has such variance to their sound within an album. I mean, you just listen to OK Computer, you have Paranoid Android, and you have No Surprises on the same album, and it's like bands have modeled their entire sound after No Surprises or after Paranoid Android. but you have one band doing both. And it's just, I mean, obviously as they've matured, I think that they have leaned into a vibe per album a little bit more, maybe starting with In Rainbows, but that is just, I think, something that sets them apart so much. And just last little bit, there's a Sacramento band where I'm at that have actually received a lot of critical acclaim called Deftones, or the Deftones. And I haven't kept up with them. I'm not against them. I'm not a fan, but I remember listening,
like the Deftones, like the actual Deftones.
Yeah, yes. Deftones.
Oh, okay.
Deftones.
They're really famous. I'm just surprised you the way you've referred to them is like, we have this small band in Sacramento, and I'm like, wait, is this like Deftones, like the Deftones? Yeah, okay.
They're a Sacramento band, and
yeah.
But I think Deftones, listening to OK Computer, there are moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, their biggest album in terms of like sales, like a lot of the vocal work he's doing reminds me a lot of like OK Computer. And, that's an opinion, but it's just so interesting to listen to him and be like, isn't it a trip that I just think Radiohead's level of influence is sometimes lost a little bit. Or I'm just looking for it because I love them.
It's funny because you'll see two celebrities posting pictures. Like I remember seeing Pierce Brosnan and Aaron Paul like together. Oh, we're at a Radiohead concert. I'm here with James Bond. Ha ha ha. And I'm like, it's funny how many celebrities love it too. And they'll step out of their bubble, just go to a Radiohead concert and stand there amongst the plebs for that, And that's not many places they would go to do that. Like, it's not like, hey, we're at Nickelback or whatever, And do you guys know Nickelback down there?
Oh my God, yeah.
They're from a small town about an hour from where I am.
Oh, really?
Hannah, Alberta. Yeah, it's funny because they're so hated up here, but they actually have some good tracks on their earlier albums.
Oh, they're a huge punchline here too. To a point that like I don't think they're a good band, but like them always being the go-to for when we're referring to a band being shitty, it feels kind of hack at this point where it's like, yeah, they're just like a generic rock. They're just a dorky generic rock band. But I love that you're like, do you guys know Sum 41 and Nickelback? I had both of those CDs as a teenager. Zach unearthed a Christmas list of mine from like the year 2000 where
poster
in numerical order it's like I want like a studded belt and a Nickelback CD.
Wow, you were a 90s.
Yeah, I was a 90s kid in the 2000s. That's it gets to you slower in a small town.
Well, that's so true though. I mean, that was what it was like back then. It's crazy how much time has passed. I was thinking about that the other day, and it's just kind of weird sometimes, and you guys obviously know Linkin Park too, but that was a big one up here. Everyone loved Linkin Park.
Oh yeah.
But it's funny the Canadian bands that did make their way down though. And then it's sad to me, I guess, sometimes that Matthew Good didn't, because like his music was so much better than Nickelback and Sum 41 at the end of the day, Yeah.
Well, yeah, but Rush made its way down, and Avril Lavigne, so other great artists as well.
Avril Lavigne,
Celine Dion, right?
Celine Dion, yeah. Absolutely.
Anne Murray.
Who else is Canadian? Yeah.
Levon Helm.
Gordon Lightfoot.
Oh, yeah. And what the hell is that other band? It's a big one. We're missing a couple big ones. Do you know Diana Krall down there? Maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, our parents are into Diana Krall.
Oh, yeah. I think she's married to Elvis Costello.
Okay.
Actually, I got to play a couple shows with her on Clarinet.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing.
That's actually a great lead into something I do want to make sure that we get out there before we end this conversation, which is just that I listened to Dream Songs, your album, the other day, and your music is great, man.
Oh, thank you.
I really, really enjoyed it a lot, and I just wanted to give you a chance to talk about, what you're doing musically, whether it's that album or other things you're working on. And there's a question in there, but I also wanted to say specifically, I think it was it Children's Song? A bunch of the tracks are called Children's Songs with different numbers. I think it was number 11 that I was like, I'm hearing a very Johnny Greenwood score influence in this. Like I was closing my eyes and I'm like, I could totally see this behind like Joaquin Phoenix and Philip Seymour Hoffman like wrestling each other in that insane scene in The Master or something. But yeah, like just go talk about your music if you don't mind.
Yeah, so that whole album was interesting because I'd been playing for a long time since I graduated, like everything else you play as a musician, like, subbing with orchestras and, playing at a church or playing this gig or that gig. And I realized I was just playing kind of what everyone else sort of wanted me to play. And I kind of lost touch with what I liked, which when I was in university, I was really into a lot of contemporary composers like Philip Glass and Terry Riley, Everett Peart, a lot of things like this. And I just was like, it'd be nice to record some of that music that I don't know, I have an affinity for, right? So there was this album called Children's Songs by Chick Corea, and he had 20 children's songs on there. And I was kind of inspired because another musical idol of mine I've talked to on my other podcast, his name is Michael Lowenstern. I discovered children's songs because of him, and he'd recorded an album of songs, which he ended up was inspired by children's songs. It said so in the liner notes. We used to have those in CDs, but he wrote the whole album because he wanted something that his kid would like, because he was playing a lot of weird stuff. And she was like, why do you play this stuff, Daddy? Why don't you play something I like? So anyway, he made a set of them, and that's how I discovered children's songs, but they're for piano. And I was like, well, I play clarinet, so what am I going to do? And at the time I had a friend who played marimba. And so I was like, why don't I write some of these out for clarinet and marimba? Because I kind of hear a more vocal line in the melody than is there, and the marimba is kind of a nice mellow instrument. So yeah, I mean, I arranged all these from those tracks for clarinet and marimba, which was kind of cool. But there's some elements of improvisation in there, and not a lot, but there's a little bit of that. And then on the starting and closing track, which is called opening, I'm actually playing marimba too, because I also play percussion. So on those ones, I'm playing marimba, and my friend was playing vibraphone, which is like that really kind of
I love the vibraphone sounding.
Yeah, it's cool, right? But and it was kind of like people didn't believe me after the fact, but I kind of tried to make a concept album, and this was very unusual for like classical / jazz genre, because people don't think like that generally. It's just like, here's a collection of pieces that I put on an album, but my idea was kind of like someone fell asleep, and then these were their dreams, and then they wake up, and that's why the last one's called Opening, and the first one's called Truman Sleeps. But those are Philip Glass tunes. So Philip Glass is a composer I really like, and again, I just arranged those for that instrumentation. But the whole album was just meant to be very kind of very minimal. Like the instrumentation was quite minimal. It was just clarinet, marimba, and vibraphone, which was unusual. Again, I think it's one of the reasons I got the grant to do it. But it was kind of crazy because I got to record, again, very unorthodox for classical music, or jazz, I guess. But you'd normally go to like a venue and record, but I was in the studio where they record a lot of rock albums, and it was like $1 million facility, and the guy told me there's like $20,000 worth of mics in front of you, man. Like, I was like, that's pretty cool. Okay, no pressure. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I worked with some cool people, and it was really fun. And I would have liked to do more, but that very next year I had a really bad hand injury and severed 3 tendons in my fingers. And that was one reason I got into podcasting in my current work, is because I couldn't really play for a couple of years.
Oh.
And then the pandemic came, and over that time I was like, you know what? I've always dabbled in guitar. I'd like to kind of get some stuff together. And so now I'm sort of working on just kind of trying to find what I might want to make as far as maybe an album of proper songs, I guess you could say.
Okay.
And I've got a bunch of ideas. They're fleshing them out. Finishing them is the hard part. I don't know if you guys write music like that, but you get so many ideas going, and Warren was even telling me like, yeah, you're good at coming up with ideas, but like, man, you got to finish some of these, like, so.
I relate to that very much, actually.
Yeah, right.
Sean, you were gracious, and I hope this won't embarrass you, but you were gracious enough to send me a like rough cut of a song you were working on. I think maybe with Warren, but I know it was a song you had written. And man, I was just so into it. And the main thing that you like caveated it with was like, to paraphrase, the bass is too overbearing. And I was like, the literal thing I was typing to you was, I love how present and loud the bass is. And so I think
yes.
I think it's great.
Sorry for my bass. Yes.
It's really good when you're writing stuff to, I think, just like seek feedback from people that are willing to give it the time too, and just seek feedback because like you were maybe in your head a little bit about how much the bass was, and I'm just one listener. but I was like, I love this choice, and I think that's the important thing when you have all these good ideas and you're putting them down is to just like seek feedback. It's hard because you're putting yourself in a vulnerable position, but yeah, I can't wait to hear that album.
Yeah, and for anyone listening, I mean, I think it's definitely a challenge for me, and I hope I can find a way to get it together. So maybe this will motivate me. I don't know, but it's just there's so many people out there that are so critical of I don't know why they're like that, but I'll never forget one time years ago, just after university, I'd gotten together with a friend of mine, and we weren't jazz guys. We just I did a classical degree, right, classical performance degree, but he was living with a roommate who was a jazzer. And he was like, oh, you guys you can't even blow through a tune, such losers. And I'm like, oh, this is so weird. But I was like, you know what? I want to learn how. And so we went downstairs and, like any beginners, we just grabbed a chart and tried to read it. And I grabbed a saxophone, which I didn't even really play. And did it sound good? I mean, no, but that was kind of the point. He calls down from the stairs, I wouldn't fucking pay for that. And I was like, why are people like this? And, I'll just never forget that moment. I was like, this must be more his insecurity than mine, because here I am trying to do it. And It was such weird feedback. So you have two kinds of people, I guess. I mean, there's people that you would maybe trust with your feedback, and there's people that you maybe shouldn't.
Well, and I think when giving feedback too, and this is not the feedback advice to the listeners, this is still Idiot Talk. But I would say, just for example, you sent me that song. I genuinely super dug it. I love the bass. I love the vocals. I do recall saying, there was, a repeating of a chorus here, something or other. I can't remember what I said. And you were so gracious about it. I'm not saying that you took my proto-advice, but I do think that, if you're going to put in the time, whether it's musician, any form of collaboration, doesn't just have to be music, put in the time, and then the recipient will be a lot more receptive to potential ideas instead of that jerk you were just describing. And that is such basic human interaction law. But I think when it comes to something as vulnerable and as personal as art and music or creation in general, it's very important to get to attempt mastery over those skills. And then you can collaborate with people instead of being totally. It's great and lying all the time. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. That doesn't get you anywhere. Nor does being a big jerk like that guy.
Yeah, and actually, it's very funny you say that because you also have to be careful of feedback that's too good. If there was someone who told me one time, you should never trust feedback from your enemies or your mom, but it's the people in the middle. It's not like, good job, Sonny, I love it. That's maybe not the best.
Well, what if your mom is your enemy, though?
Well, I guess, you can't trust her at all, But you know what I mean? You got to kind of trim the fat, the good and the bad, the stuff that's way too negative, maybe it's not worth taking seriously. But same with the way too positive, if you don't want to have yes men around, you want a little bit of constructive feedback, right? And so it lies somewhere in the middle, I guess. I mean, it's definitely, there's so much to learn. And I've said that to classical players before. There was one guy one time who said to me oh, pop music is just so stupid and so simple. And I was like, it's so simple, eh? I challenge you to write just one hit song. Just go do it, And many bands never accomplish that after a lifetime of effort. So don't you sit there with your freaking bassoon and tell me that it's easy, come on.
Yeah. I love challenging somebody to write a hit song.
If it's so easy, I can't wait to hear it. Yeah. What's the riff, man? Let's go.
Yes, and that person, I mean, but people like that, I think, too. I could definitely understand that level of frustration when they put their whole life, energy, effort, career into being proficient at understanding music at so many different technical levels. Then they hear what's, proliferate, on the radio or whatever, and you're like, okay, I could figure out that 1-4-5 in about 2 seconds. But then you look at, real pop songs with genuine complexity, like any song Paul McCartney wrote during the Beatles' tenure and thereafter. Or John Lennon, and it's Lady Madonna changes keys 3 times, and it's one of the most poppiest pop songs, and it has piano, guitar, I could go on and on. So I think that person, people like that. I can understand why they get feeling that way towards Taylor Swift or whatever that's on the radio, but it's that's one aspect of pop, and what I mentioned is just one aspect too.
I wouldn't even need to push them there, though. For me, there's a real element of production and finesse that goes into even a pop song. I don't appreciate Taylor Swift. I would never listen to it, but the level of finesse and just getting it how it is very, very difficult. I wish I could remember the name of a book. I think it's called The Song Machine. And the guy talks about, I think it's Ace of Base and just that producer and just going into the life of it. It's very, very interesting. And it just makes you realize, like, man, there's just so much more going on to these pop tunes that people give credit for. You know, it sounds so simple, but there's a lot of like Steve Jobs almost. Like, there's a lot of complexity in that simplicity, you know, and deciding what not to include and what exactly to include and what will hook the mind of this generation. And like, it's really, really hard to write a song like that, you know, even if it is not as timeless as Kid A or whatever.
Well, I think American Idiot by Green Day, like that album, I think that album has a ton of like long-term re-listen value. And Billy Joe Armstrong has maybe one solo on that entire album, and that is definitely a band making a comeback, but it's a pop album. And you know, the arrangements are more complex than stuff they did before and after. But that to me is just one that kind of occurred to me, you know, where it does have like, and Walker, is American Idiot still listenable for you?
I love American Idiot. I love Green Day. I mean, and I think that the reason they endure so much is because Billy Joe Armstrong writes some of the best melodies ever. Like, they're just he writes really, really catchy, unique, and long-lasting melodies.
Well, it's like some of these players, like even from U2, The Edge, or the guy from Rage Against the Machine, like some of these riffs and that when you learn them, they're not that hard, but it's amazing effects and just getting that vibe and the sound.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, you know. They're so
Tom Morello
awesome.
That's such a good call, Sean. There's not too many hard Rage or Audio Slave riffs. They are usually a little bit like, oh, this is like kind of a lot of I forget the word, chromaticism in them. But it's all about kind of the tone and then collaborating, obviously, with Zach De La Rocca was huge on that. But.
Totally.
Especially, too, when you hear Tom Morello, he does take a more traditional solo a couple times on the first Rage Against the Machine album. And it's like, oh, this guy can actually, like, shred if he wants to. It's just like, that's, like, not what the song calls for. It's like he's more about, like, coming up with these really unique sounds and writing these big chunky riffs. And
that actually reminds me of Radiohead. We can talk about that here, right? that reminds me though a bit of what Radiohead's so good at too, is like what the song needs, not what they want, you know. And that's like, you know, we joked about Phil earlier, but Phil is an expert at that.
Yes,
exactly. And you know, I've never, even live, like he has such great restraint. Like he doesn't throw in any extra fills just to be flashy, or, you know, extra cymbal crap at the end of songs. I hate that. You know, when they're doing all that kind of stuff. He's always very much kind of on point, which is, he's a great drummer. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet, what would the song There Be without Phil? It would be a good song, but it is one of the most unique, incredible pieces of music, in my opinion, ever written, because of what he is providing steady. When we were listening to it and doing our episode on it, Walker pointed out that I was like, it's never changed once. And he's like, oh no, but except for that one snare roll. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. And I mean, it's just, yeah, I might be wrong is another great song. I mean, but yeah, Phil is so service to song. And I think Johnny is too. I mean, Johnny can shred like Tom Morello. I would maybe say Johnny has a little bit more chops, but chooses to, I'm going to fuck around with my Owens Martineau. Because I'm into that, you know, but we know he can shred. It's so cool.
Phil does have one.
Back.
Yeah. No, I was about to make the dumbest joke ever, so it's going to be tough to go back for this.
Let's let it come through. You can edit me out with my. Who's this clown interjecting about Radiohead?
I was going to say, Phil does have one kind of off-putting habit in the songs, though, is whenever he does a fill, you can sometimes hear him way back on the track going, "Did somebody say my name?"
It's funny because a minute ago when I said Phil, I was actually thinking that. I was like, oh, that's funny. It's Phil. It's Phil playing Phils.
That's why I pointed. I was like, Phil's.
Phil does like to play Phils, yeah.
Okay, worth going back for.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Yeah, they really made it.
Well, I wanted to get this in before Walker had to dip out because, Sean, you've been so gracious about, you've made way more Canada jokes than we have, but, you know, we do have... like more in common, not only with our northern neighbors, but with Calgary specifically. We have a Walker and I's younger sister lives in Calgary. So
that's right.
Yeah, so even though you were gracious, it does afford us a certain latitude to, make little Canada jokes here and there. Because we got
well, if you're ever visiting up here, we should do something to be listen to radio together. Let's do some math homework.
Yeah, we have 2 Canadian nephews.
2 Canadian nephews.
So some of our best friends are Canadian. So if we make any jokes, we're a part. We know the community.
Fair enough. Well, it's crazy because all of Canada is, I think, less than California. So we don't have that many people up here, really. So
wow, is that true?
Yeah, California is like what, 35, 40 million people?
Yeah.
What's Canada? I think it's like 35. Yeah.
Wow, that is an astonishing Canada fact.
Yeah, I don't know.
The whole country.
Wow.
Like world's second biggest countries. It's extremely spread out. Yeah.
Wait, so do you know our sister and brother-in-law?
I don't know. Maybe. Maybe I do. Yeah. They're my neighbors. Yeah.
They're in the. Hey guys, get in here. Yeah, come on, say hi.
What if he fucking did?
Maybe I do. Yeah. We'll go into this after the call, I guess.
Zach will text you a picture. And
it's a small Canada, as they say.
Sean, can you tell people where to find your music or anything else that you want them to check out?
Yeah, well, thanks again for having me on. So you can check out OK Podcast at okpodcast.com. I think I also have radioheadpodcast.com. So either of those domains will get you there, I think. And then, if you just search, if you want to listen to that Dream Songs, it's on Spotify, Apple Music, all those kinds of things. But just search my name, Sean Perrin. And that's, if you want to listen to the Clarinet podcast, I can't imagine why, but you can check that out at clarinet.com as well. But there's actually some great interviews on there, but it's definitely for clarinet players. But there's been some interesting people, like people who've had really long orchestral careers and things like that. But
Sean, I don't play clarinet, and I really enjoyed some of the episodes.
Yeah. So. I guess it's good. The host is all right. No, it's interesting. It's been really good to get to know all those people and talk about it. And for any musician, I guess there's a lot of value there for sure. But that one's clarinet.com. So, and there's also a third one launching soon, but I don't know enough details to really go into it yet. But watch for that also.
Okay. That's wonderful, and really appreciate you being on our show. And I know I really held your feet to the fire about if there is any animosity towards our show following in your footsteps, and you insisted there isn't. And I'm still not 100% sure this isn't a case of keeping your enemies closer.
It'll be great podcasting against you guys.
Zach, did you have anything that you wanted to say or ask Sean before we?
I would just like to say, Sean, thank you. Thanks for coming on the show, and thank you for being welcoming into the podcast fold. And I can't wait to cross promote and do all that good stuff. But it's been such a joy chatting with you. Yeah,
and if you guys ever come up to Calgary, let's do whatever Americans do up here, I guess.
Get some poutine, because I still don't know what it is.
Oh, poutine. What?
I've had poutine. It's yummy.
How can people not have poutine? That's so sad. So it's basically for the.
We don't even have healthcare down here, man. Forget about poutine.
Well, you got to get poutine first, and then you'll need the healthcare, right? Poutine leads to the healthcare, I think.
That's what we've been doing wrong as a nation.
Yeah, you can't start without it. Yeah. I mean, cheeseburgers are close, but poutine. I mean, so poutine is, French fries topped with cheese curds and gravy, essentially. But like some places will take beyond that and put like bacon in or whatever. And actually, breakfast poutine is a really popular thing now up here. So it's like hash browns with cheese curds and maybe bacon with hollandaise sauce on top. So Canadians love poutine. I don't know what it is, but I mean, if you've never had poutine, get yourself some cheese curds and some gravy and do it up. It's pretty good. Right. It's worth it.
Well, I'm going to come visit your neighbor, our sister, soon. So we will go get some poutine.
I'll go for poutine together, and say sorry to everyone we see. And right?
As the American, I'll do the offensive stuff, and you can apologize on my behalf.
Yeah, you can walk around just like pushing people, and sorry about him. That's how I envision our visit, anyways. There goes Zach up the street.
He's from the Mean Radiohead podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't listen to that one.
He's punching another person up at a wedding. I can't keep it.
Oh, there we go.
That was reaching.
That was pretty.
But we can't. Yeah. I don't think we can close better with that.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me, and this has been great.
It's been really fun talking Radiohead.
You know what? If we're going to cross promote this, wait a minute. If we're going to cross promote this, you guys should tell me the same though. Like, where can we listen to your show?
Walker?
Idiot Talk podcast comes out every Friday because Radiohead fans know the band's first name was on a Friday. And we have a lot of fun talking about the band, side projects, and each other's weird little lives that we're living while loving Radiohead.
Batman.
Oh yeah, I probably shouldn't mention Batman in the plug because it'll be more confusing. But we do have a side podcast within the podcast where we talk about the Tim Burton Batman movies.
Podcastception.
But yeah, you'll get if you're a Radiohead fan, there's enough Radiohead that you will get more than your money's worth from our free podcast.
Totally.
Yeah. Come on over, listeners.
Awesome. Not all of you, though. We still need some.
Not all of you. Yeah.
Hey, I listen to both podcasts. I listen to OK Podcast and Idiot Talk.
Make room for both. Let's just say that. But no, guys, awesome. That's great, and we should do this again sometime.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on the show, Sean.
Talk to you guys soon.
Thanks for listening, listeners. Bye. Idiot Talk is a Glenn Brothers production. Get in touch with us at idiotalk.podcast@gmail.com or follow us on Instagram at idiotalk.podcast. And thanks for listening to